Howdy, and how do you do? And welcome back to Peglin Spinventor Cruciball 12 edition. Now, the moment of truth. Do we get another refresh or another crit here? We X-nay on the apple a day. It's one of these two, and I think the refresh might just be a little bit more valuable for us, for the time being at least. But I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and I do want to talk about this YouTube video that I saw, and not necessarily the YouTube video itself, but kind of the general topic of it. The video I watched was referencing, Malaysian Flight 370 or something, the flight that disappeared years ago, I guess. Many years ago, the flight that just disappeared and they couldn't figure it out, and they started finding pieces that appeared to belong to the ship out in the shores of Africa or something. But I guess there was new things that came out of new, like, not new, I should say. It was like in 2014 that these videos supposedly came out and whatnot. And it's a picture of a video essentially of this plane getting, like, disappearing, getting teleported by 3 orbs or whatnot. You can Google it. I don't know how accurate it is. I'm solely basing these whole thoughts from here on out based off of that one video. And this is kind of what I got my mind thinking about as I was just, I don't know, mindlessly existing. But the craziness that the US government has confirmed that there's aliens. They've confirmed that there's aliens. And now these videos come out and get brought up and stuff, and it's just crazy times. I feel like no one's really reacting the way I would imagine we would have reacted if it was confirmed aliens are real. So it kind of makes me think that this is all just not real. I don't know how to comprehend it, because it feels like the reactions we're getting in the press from this isn't as big as I imagined it would be, or it should be, for confirming that aliens exist and they're real. But I don't know. It's above me. But then I started thinking about how crazy it is that we are all alive at this time, and how much things have changed over the course. Just since my childhood, internet skyrocketed. Now you can do about anything you ever dreamed of on the internet. Whenever I was a kid, I remember always playing on the computer with my brother, which we didn't go online at all. We played like CD-ROM games or whatever it is. Can't remember what it was called, but we played games like that on the computer, and then we would also play on the GameCube. The GameCube was our game at that time. But we played like Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. We played Legend of Zelda 4 Swords. And if you didn't know about the Legend of Zelda 4 Swords, it was essentially do I want to do you? I think I want to do you again. It was a game that was for your Game Boy Advances or Game Boy SPs, whichever one you had or one you were playing. I don't think it really mattered too much, just the light of it. But why are we not getting a crit here? I should have probably skipped. Let's do it this way. Watch this. Nice. All right. Well, Ocarina of Time and Legend of Zelda 4 Swords, just the Legend of Zelda games in general, are extremely hard games as it is. And so the only way we could actually really beat these games is by looking up what to do. And so my brother and I, the little time that we would get on the computer or on the internet was to look up things like that on how to beat it. I should have went this way. My small brain was not working. It was trying, but it was not working hard enough. More refreshes isn't bad. I don't think we'll be punished for our decisions here. Too hard. We're not too hardly punished. We have refreshes. We just don't have much damage, and it is what it is. Can't win them all, right? Bound to lose one at some of these times. But we'd look them up, and then, of course, every time we get a chance to look them up, we're in the evenings after school and whatnot. And who else is home in the evenings? My mom. And that time, now, if you watch any old movie where there's a high school related, like a high school aged female or male, or I don't know, most of those old movies where they spend all their time talking to their friends on the phone, that was my mom. My mom would be on that phone all the time, talking to her friends, talking to my grandma, talking to who knows who. Probably people she would probably not talk to, well, probably doesn't talk to today because it's not as convenient to talk on the phone anymore. But it's just, we want you. Refilibuster's not bad, I suppose, with the removal of a pebble. I don't want to get rid of the Terror Ball yet because the Terror Ball is technically better than a pebble due to this level 1 pebble, I should say, due to that relic. So 1 gold's not going to get us anything at the shop, but my mom talked on the phone all the time. And so we'd always have to... Oh, there goes all of our pebbles. That was perfect. Which now we have no orbs. I think I'd rather have the fight than the question mark here. Level up some things. But the one time she talks on the phone is in the evenings. Around the same time that my brother and I need to figure out what to do on our game because we're at a dead stop. We have no idea what to do. We need the internet. And so we'd quickly get on the internet, and my mom would say, "Boys, you got to get off the internet. Get off the computer. I'm hopping on the phone." And so then she gets on the phone, and she's on that phone for hours. It felt like, I don't know how long it is. My perception of time at that time isn't the same as it is now, but it just felt like hours and hours of her just sitting on the phone. Then my brother and I just sitting there anxiously waiting, trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing on this game. Until a guy from my brother's grade, he was my brother's grade in elementary school, and he lived like right up the road or something. And I was so excited every time he would come over, because every time he would come over, I would want him to play Ocarina of Time because he knew everything. He knew all the little secret places where the hearts were, the heart pieces. If you know what I'm talking about, if you play Legend of Zelda, the heart pieces that give you more more hearts. But he knows where all those are and all that, so I just wanted to watch him play it. Every time he was over, I just wanted to watch him play it. But of course, whenever he comes over, he wants to play Smash Brothers. He wants to play Super Smash Brothers. I think at that time it was Melee or Melee. It's whatever you call it. I always called it Melee, is how I always called it, just because I was a kid playing it and no one ever corrected me growing up. So it is what it is. Don't blame me. Blame my parents and whoever I associated with to not correct my way of saying it. But it is what it is. And so if we couldn't get it on the internet at home, we got it from him or my brother. We would always have computer lab. My elementary school did not have a computer lab. We still, in our library, had a Rolodex. And my elementary school, we didn't have too much money. My elementary school was not a wealthy area whatsoever. We didn't have AC, so they would always wheel in those big box fans right after we have recess. They would wheel those into the classrooms, and I hated them. I can't stand AC anymore, or those fans or anything like that, because after you overheat outside and then you get that fan thrown right into your face, I feel like it's worse. It's so much worse because it gives me a headache, a horrible headache, which I don't get headaches often. I don't remember the last headache I've had, but it was terrible, absolutely terrible. And I know for a fact every time I get into a car after a hot day, everyone wants to turn on that AC and start having it blare. Worst experiences are those. But I digress a little bit. But in our library, we had the Rolodex, no internet or anything. But my brother got, since he's older, he got to go to intermediate school. And at our intermediate school, they were a little bit bigger, had a wider range of their reach of families and school districts was a little bit broader. They brought in a little bit more money, and so they had a computer lab. And so my brother would always, whenever we get stuck on a game, I should have grabbed the refresh shield instead. But every time we would get stuck on a game, he would go into that computer lab and Google it and figure out what we need to do, and then he'll come home with like a sticky note or a post-it note with what we needed to do. And so then I would just sit there and watch him play it, which Ocarina of Time, I never really got to play it. It was always my brother that played it, and I always watched him play it since he was the older brother, and I couldn't read fast enough to actually play it. So usually whenever those texts, which with Legend of Zelda games, they don't have any voice acting or anything like that. Usually don't have any voice acting. I don't know about the new ones or anything if they have voice acting, but it was all reading. You had to manually read it. Not manually read it, you just had to read it. And so I wouldn't read fast enough, so it would get very boring for my brother to watch whenever it's me just trying to read the whole time. But I should have probably upgraded our Splat Orb. We had such a good build going last game too, and we still lost, which was probably because I was talking instead of thinking about my moves, but I digress. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, this is very unfortunate. Oh, that's even more unfortunate. Now our terrible is actually terrible. I wanted the question marks. I don't know what's going on now. We're existing, but that's essentially how we beat most of our games. And back to the Legend of Zelda Four Swords. It was like the Ganon's castle or someone's castle. It's not Ganondorf in that game. It's some spirit or something. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't remember, but it was the final castle, and it has a puzzle where you have to use a hammer, a Goron's hammer, the hammer in certain posts and podiums to unlock the door. And I, to this day, still have no idea how anyone could figure it out without Googling it. Or I guess YouTubing it. Maybe that was still in the time of just in time for YouTube. I don't know how my brother came up with this information. This was probably 2005, I imagine. I don't remember. I don't know. My feel for time is still off. So maybe we save our money, continue on, because now we have to get rid of a few other garbage. We got to get rid of 2 Terraballs and whatnot, and it keeps wanting us to duplicate orbs. So we'll get rid of round guards. Nice. There's our refresh shield. We're keeping the Terraballs for now. We're getting the refresh shield, because now it's promoting refreshing a little bit more. Do need question marks though, so maybe we can go and get rid of one of our Terraballs if we go left and collect enough money. There's the round guard. I think something's looking out for us here. You do want 2 of these fights because we need to upgrade orbs if we're gonna have a chance here. Yes, but it's a crazy time that we've all been through. I assume most of the people watching is around my age. I don't think we have any super young people in here. According to the analytics, I don't think there's too many younger people than me. Well, I don't say younger than me. I'm pretty old nowadays, but especially in internet terms, I'm an ancient dinosaur, it seems like. Granted, my peers, just so you guys get a reference of who my peer group on this platform would be, on YouTube would be age-wise, is like the Ludwig or Moist Critical. They're all the same generation as I think same graduation years and stuff like that, around the same, all of us. But of course, they're a little bit more successful than I, but that's okay. That is okay. They've done it more. They've got talent, I guess. They've got the feel for it. They built the skills necessary to succeed. I am still just living and cruising. That's what we do here. But it's a crazy time to be alive. Just thinking that the US, the United States of America, was formed in 1776. Less than 300 years ago. Say 2 generations happen every 100 years. Every century is 2 generations. Is my assumption. I don't know how accurate necessarily that is, but that is my guess, best guess. Of course, the one time we want to hit these bombs, we're not hitting the bombs. And these Terror Balls just love each other, I tell you what. Terror Ball twins. Okay, we still have time to get some more Monet. So it's been like 2.5 centuries. That's what, 4 generations? No, I gotta be doing that wrong. Let's say 3 generations are in every century. 3 generations are in every century. That gives everyone has kids. On average, everyone will be having kids at 33 years old. So every 33 years, a new generation starts. So we're doing 2.5. That means 3, 6, about 7 to 8 generations from us. And us in like a general sense of this few decades long thing from, I'd say, mid 80s to the late 90s to 2000s. 2000s. So 85 to 2000. Anyone within that range. We're like 7 to 8 generations away from that, which is just, I think, is crazy. It's crazy. We'll get rid of the Terror Ball. And how much, like I said, technology has changed from that time span. At that time, they were just using horses. Cruising around, riding some horses, discovering some land. Fighting wars with black powdered rifles. And that kind of stuff, which is, it's something else. Technology, bright minds, they're out there. They're hopefully just continuing to work, which, as I am aware, I think they're all continuing to work, especially, well, I say they're continuing to work. They're continuing to work to develop their replacement of AI, artificial intelligence, I give up. I give up on trying to do the acronym right now. GPT. Put me on the spot and I can't say it, but in the general sense, I might be able to say it. I don't know. I think we're gonna lose here because these plants are gonna destroy us. I tell you what, I'm getting my teeth knocked in here, reminiscing about how much technology has changed, and especially games. Games are crazy. Which, granted, this game's not too much of a crazy thought here. It's not too intuitive, but there's so many. Online gaming has increased more than probably anyone could have ever imagined. Esports, no matter how unprofitable it necessarily is, it's still a massive industry, which I only get the unprofitability from everyone talking about how unprofitable it is, and then all these like organizations that are closing their doors, stop funding their teams and whatnot, which, I mean, makes sense. It's kind of like card games. So, you know, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, they probably still have major conventions and tournaments that are housed, and probably a lot of money goes through them. But fortunately for it, no money-hungry, like, capitalist tycoon or tycoon of some sort has bled into it, kind of like FaZe Clan or those Optic Gamings, whatever other professional teams are out there. They haven't really tried dabbling in that and saturating it to the point where it's no longer like a fun thing to do. It's more competitive, more about the money of it versus the actual joy of just playing a game and competing to build the best deck. But those games also kind of get me thinking about how competitive. There's got to be an objectively best deck with it. With how many cards are out there, there's got to be the objectively best deck, and then you just have those two decks fighting back and forth with each other. That's kind of like a meta for come on now. These are the two orbs you decide to have me give up. Out of all the orbs that we own, these are the two. Well, maybe it's saving us from going the summoning circle route, but I doubt it is. I don't know. I don't know much about card games. I remember whenever I was a kid, I always had Pokemon cards, and there was a kid down the street who also had Pokemon cards, and so I think he knew more about Pokemon cards than we did at the time, and he was just trying to weasel his way in through and get all of our good cards. I'm pretty sure, looking back on it, and I think my mom kind of saw through it a little bit, but McDonald's, I think it was McDonald's that made a run for, or did like a campaign and handed out gold cards, like gold-plated cards, and I have like a gold-plated Pikachu card. I think my brother has it now, or someone has it, or maybe I lost it. I don't know where it's at, but this guy down the street, he was much older than we were, and he offered to make a trade with me. He wanted my gold Pikachu card, and he'll give me a stack, like a stack of probably 50 Pokemon cards. And I go running home because I was so excited. I wanted that big old stack of Pokemon cards, and I just wanted to brag about it. Look at all these cards I have. And as soon as I get home, my mom's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, the so-and-so down the road's wanting to make a trade. He's wanting to trade a bunch of Pokemon cards for my gold Pikachu." And she says, "No, don't. You're not doing that." I said, "Why?" And she says, I don't even remember what she says. I just remember her telling me, no, I'm not doing that. And so I don't even think I questioned her. I was like, okay. Because I don't think I was too much of a... I ask a lot of questions now, but whenever it came to like growing up, I usually took what my parents said as like, okay, that's what I need to do. I don't need to necessarily question it. They know more than I do, so I'm gonna just listen to it and accept it. So of course I don't go back outside. This kid came all the way to our house. He like followed, I guess my brother was still with him, so my brother and him walked all the way back to our house to make this trade deal go through. And I go outside, and we at the time had two trees in the front yard, and they were sitting out by those trees, and he had that big old deck of cards with him. And I see the big old deck of cards, and I start like going through them and looking at how cool some of those Pokemon art were. Of course, there's probably 0 hollows, 0 anything in there. They're all just the garbage ones that he doesn't want or has duplicates of and whatnot. And at some reason, this memory's always stuck with me, was seeing that big O stack and thinking, why can't I just make this trade? One card that's useless at the time. I think that Pokemon, that gold card is useless, which I mean, I don't think it's worth anything today either, but it was something my parents got me from wherever. I think it was McDonald's that ran them. And so every time I see that card, I just think about that trade deal that could have gone down and could have got all these Pokemon cards, but my mom was just looking out for me. She knew it wasn't a good deal. But I still... What if there was a hollow Charizard in that big old stack of cards that he was going to give me for that one just measly gold Pikachu? I wonder when they ran that. Let's see if I can look it up real quick on... Make this throw into a bomb. Doesn't take everything out, but we can hit another bomb, hopefully. Now we can hit another bomb. We have enough money to heal. Gold Pokemon cards. No, these aren't it. I typed in just gold Pokemon cards thinking that it would pull it up, but it looks like just they ran a set of gold Pokemon cards at one time. Just thin cards. This thing's thick in like a little plastic case that you can kind of open up and look at it, inspect it and stuff and get it out, which I think I probably ruined mine. There was a couple times where it got a little smudges on it, then I put it under water to clean it. Which, I don't know, I haven't looked at it since, but I assume water on the exposed gold and metal, and I was a kid not knowing anything about chemical reactions such as that, probably did not turn out the best, but I don't know. I don't know. I need to, next time I'm at my parents', I'll have to look it up. Okay, so that doesn't work. Maybe I put gold plated. Gold plated. Plated Pokemon cards. Random navigation's perfect with me. I have no specific thing. Burger King. It was Burger King, not McDonald's. Yes, and they came in a little Pokemon. Came into a little Pokemon ball. That's what they came in. But the Terra Ball is better technically. Oh yes, 23 karat gold. Pokemon Burger King 23 karat gold plated trading card, 1999. It's a lot of 3 for $25. So yeah, it's not the most valuable thing whatsoever, but yeah, probably was worth the trade maybe. If those were all like base set, a stack of base set cards that he was offering me, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just a good memory, fond memory. To this day, I'm just gonna say my mom was right. That was a good deal not to do. It was best not to do it, is what I'm gonna say. Now, of course, she doesn't know what it's all meaning for. My mom did not think it was necessarily a bad deal. My mom just, I think, isn't the greatest at like trades or buying stuff like that, or like, I think at that time it was Craigslist. Craigslist was a big thing. Not at that time, not early 2000s, of course, but whenever you buy things or talk with things or make deals, my mom's not the person to go to for that stuff. She gets very anxious with it. She hates whenever my dad ever has to make a deal with anyone or anything. She cringes a little bit, as they say. I can just upgrade here. Move on. I think we'll have enough health to get through this, especially with a gold electromagnet. I mean, a level 3 electromagnet. Gold's just on the mind. Well, it did not perform how I thought it was going to perform, actually, so. Hit the refresh. It was right there, and you couldn't hit it twice in a row. It's okay, I'm not gonna hold you to it, but don't be electromagnet. Thank you. Electropegnet, I should say. Okay, please crit. No, not even close to enough damage. We're gonna fall apart, Lisa. Forgive me for our failures today. Oh. But I think that's 0 for 3. We failed. It is what it is. We'll carry on our wayward son as oh wait. These aren't the Pikachu ones. These are like Togepi. I don't know. Poliwhirl. Yeah, 2 Poliwhirls and a Togepi. Huh, interesting. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to talking with you all later. We'll get a win one of these days, but thank you for listening to my rant. Bye-bye.